gentlemen, welcome to yet another episode of Beyond Numbers, a podcast by Kkco'S East Africa LLP. Wow, I don't say finally have an all-female set, which would look like I'm being a bit, but I'm excited about the fact that we are able to have this conversation with you ladies. Karibuni sana.
Santi.
My name is Liz Matimu. I'm going to be your host for this episode. And I want you ladies to just introduce yourself. Please let us know your name and what you do.
I'm Pauline Wambeti.
Uh-huh.
I'm the managing director for Nuru International Kenya. It's a locally registered, and we are based in Kenya.
Mm-hmm.
And we are at southwestern Kenya. That's where our headquarters are.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So now that we're shooting in Nairobi, we should be telling you Karibu Mjini.
Asante.
Uh-huh.
And my name is Liz Matimu.
Mhm.
I'm partner at Kkco'S East Africa. I'm one of the partners at Kkco'S East Africa.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Karibuni sana. How are you ladies feeling? Excited? A bit nervous? How are you feeling? Pauline? As the guest of the show,
It feels different.
it feels different,
Yes.
but a good type of different, I hope.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. Now, before we start, I want to ask you a very random question. And tell me the answer that comes first in your mind. If you could meet any historical figure, who would you choose and why?
I would choose Nelson Mandela.
Nice.
Yeah. Because there are a lot of social and political dynamics he went through.
Mm-hmm.
And I would like to know a lot about how he was able to maneuver, what were his feelings at the different points in time
Mm-hmm.
when he was experiencing that.
Mm-hmm.
And at the point where he shouldered the burden of, championing the cause for his people,
Mm-hmm.
I would like to know some of the motivation and what did he really feel. Yeah.
Awesome. What about you, Liz?
I think I would like to meet a Kenyan lady. So I would like to meet Wangari Maathai.
Uh-huh.
And why Wangari Maathai? She was so bold. She was bold and radical and took a step to make a difference. And she did whatever it took. So, it's not easy to find someone who's that. I would love to hear what inspired her, motivated her. She was very bold.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we can feel her impact even today in terms of the green and just even walking along Uru Gardens. There's a lot here. Yeah.
Well, I think what I like about both your answers is the fact that with both these historical figures is an element of impact. Yeah. So now, Pauline, karibu sana to our podcast. This is a podcast where we have conversations. When we say beyond numbers, it's truly because besides the fact that we are in audit and accounting, for us it's important that we're able to have conversations that have impact. And these conversations will not just be around our numbers. We really hope to inspire and impact our viewers, our clients. So that's why we are also excited to have you here. Now, on this particular episode, we want to have a conversation with you as a client of KKCO, and we'd want to really understand a couple of things like your experience, your motivations. How did you guys at Nuru end up with KKCO? Pauline, Nuru, tell us about where you work, what kind of organization it is, so that we can also now get a feel of, now viewers can get a feel of where you're working. And then now as we proceed in the conversation, we'll really be able to just dot our I's and cross out our T's.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So Nuru is a a local non-governmental organization that is working in rural, remote regions of Kenya. And we started operations in 2008. And our focus is to empower the communities that are living in these remote rural regions to lift themselves out of generational poverty.
Okay.
So our activities are centered around poverty reduction, and we do that through improving their livelihoods, providing access to inputs, financial literacy. We mainstream healthcare. We are also keen on financial inclusion, and we want to transition the communities from subsistence farming into agribusinesses. Yeah, so basically ensuring that they are sustainable in their livelihoods, and that will increase their household income. So we work with them through a cooperative structure. That is how we mobilize them to be able to have bargaining power and also to negotiate for better outcomes. Yeah, we are currently in 3 counties.
Oh, wow.
Migori, Homa Bay, and Baringo, but we are scaling into Central and North Rift counties. Yeah.
Oh, awesome. And how does an NGO or how does your NGO end up working now with KKCO? How did you learn of them?
Okay, so it was at a point of transition. We were going through transition because Nuru was established by a foundation team that was from the United States of America. They partnered with a local founder from Migori County. And basically for the formative years, it was expatriate-led. And at the point where the expatriate team was now transitioning the leadership and governance to the local team, we started experiencing some challenges. So we started, we were struggling with establishing some structures that would be more functional, more efficient. We needed to come up with better internal control mechanisms. And so we also needed to ensure there was credibility in our operations so that the donors who are now leaving would be able to continue to trust that we would invest their donor funds prudently. So there were some difficulties we were going through. And so one of the persons who was contacted pointed us in the direction of KKCO. And so when our donor went through their profile, they liked what they saw on their profile. And so they reached out to them. And the board of Nuru was agreeable that we should work with KKCO to set up at least to support us and even get the feedback that was really needed for us to know what exactly it is we were dealing with. Because we needed to start at a point of information. Yes.
And Liz, do you remember that first time, like getting to hear about Nuru, and how was that for you?
Yeah, so I think it came through a request to provide a proposal for the services required, and we prepared our proposal. We met with them to just ask more questions in terms of what they're looking for, and we prepared our proposal. They interviewed us. I know we were being interviewed with other audit firms, and I think a month later we were contacted that we've been selected to be their auditors and their partners in just helping them improve their systems. And it was quite exciting. What was interesting, it was they were so far. Because where they were based then was Isibania. We had never been to Isibania. Don't even know if I'd heard of Isibania before. So it was an interesting journey, just to get to see that part of Kenya. Isibania borders Tanzania. It's quite far. But yeah, it was an interesting journey. Just getting to know who they are and what they do and how they impact the community. Yeah.
So is that that was part of the onboarding process? Is that something that you do with even your other clients, like going to where they are, trying to understand their business, their organizations?
Yes. So once we onboard a client, the first thing we do is get to understand them, who they are, what their strategic objectives are, what they do, where their pain points, what, like for not-for-profits like themselves, that's an NGO, what outcomes do they expect to see? How do they impact community? How do they work with their different stakeholders? How do the staff relate with each other? So we go through a whole process of understanding them. What current systems and policies do they have? What have previous reports said? What are the donors saying? So we get to sit with the different stakeholders so that by the time we are now actually starting the work, we actually know them. We become part of them. If you ask me about Nuru, I become like part of a Nuru.
Oh, yeah.
I can talk about Nuru because then I've gotten to know them very well. Yes. So we do that for all our clients. Yeah.
Awesome. So Pauline, do you feel like okay, now you onboard, you guys get onboarded with KKCO, they come, then you talked about them giving feedback. Would you like speak a bit more about that?
Yeah, so of course there were the preliminary visits with them understanding what we are doing and what our vision was and what it is we are struggling with. And it took repeated visits for them to understand us and how we intend to work. And then with the conversations now focusing on what are the areas where you want to change, what do you want the results to look like. And at that time we really needed to be trustworthy, build our credibility, not just with the donors, but also with the community, because our projects also involve mobilizing financial resources locally and also supporting the farmers to invest in the intervention. And so if our systems and structures are not functional and transparent and credible, then we will not have achieved much. So we really liked that they were willing to take that long journey to our offices. We are right at the border of Kenya and Tanzania, to sit with us in meetings, to peruse our records, to look at all the historical information that was there, and also sit in board meetings to advise on what to do. Of course, they did the audit and they were able to explain very candidly what needed to change. And they have very high standards of working. So in those meetings, really, we had no room to continue with business as usual. They were able to walk us through the changes that we needed to bring into our organization, the standards we needed to adhere to, and really there was no room to not change. Yeah, they were that stringent, and it involved a lot of work. They took me to trainings.
Oh, wow.
We were able to develop policies that were not there before. We came up with policies that at that time we didn't think were critical, but eventually we saw the importance. Yeah, because even now when we became a bit visible We became bigger in our operations. These are the things that have made other donors to trust us.
Oh, wow.
We've been able to secure funding based on the foundation they set in our organization. Yeah, because now when we are asked for like an anti-fraud and bribery policy, we are able to provide that. We reviewed our finance and procurement policies. We were able to have an asset management policy. So there's a lot. And anytime we would reach out to them for help, they would always be willing to provide that help.
Oh, wow.
So the relationship went beyond just audit. It was more valuable and impactful.
Liz, would you say that's what makes the difference between you and other similar players in the market?
Yeah, I think that relationship makes a difference. So we are independent, but we are relational. And I think I remember Nuru, their vision is really, I mean, what they're doing is really making a difference to the communities. I have seen, I even spent time in some what do you call them, advocacy workshops, you know, the NGO lingo. The advocacy workshops. I met with some farmers. I met with some community leaders just to listen, you know, what they do, where they stand, and the work is really impactful. And what I also liked about the Nuru leadership is they were willing to listen. You know, they were willing to receive difficult feedback. The feedback was not easy. It was hard feedback, you know, and one of the things we always say, there's this book, Good to Great. And one of the things it says, it says, face the brutal facts. To move from good to great, face the brutal facts. And what I liked about Nuru is they were able to face their realities. We're able to give them feedback and say, you know what, this is your reality. And for you to move from here to here, these are the things you must do. And what was good is the leadership were able to listen. The board, when we met with them, listened. It wasn't, I must say, it wasn't easy. Like, I'm just saying they listened. It was some very difficult discussions, very difficult negotiations we had both at leadership and at board level. And their commitment to fixing things. And you could see the fixed things, you know, the policies. Many organizations, sometimes you have a policy, but it's not really tailor-made to your organization. So, I mean, we put in place, and the policies, we facilitated them. It's them who came up with their policies. We just helped them write it and, you know, put controls around it. And they were able to walk. We walked with them, set those policies, and they're actually using them. And you could see over a period of 3-4 years, wow, I mean, the organization that I began working with and the organization 4 years later and the organization now are completely different organizations. You can see the difference. Their focus now is growth. They're expanding to other counties. They're making a bigger difference. I mean, I feel I'm like, at least I'm a small, tiny part of their success, which makes us happy as we do our work as KKCU.
It's actually been 7 years, huh? Right? 7 going 8.
Yes.
Yeah. So you'd say you have, it's been a partnership that has been beneficial and you have enjoyed.
Yes, I would say it has been very impactful because we've also been able to use the experiences, the knowledge we've acquired to mentor the affiliates we work with. So the controls we instituted, the policies we developed, there's a lot of structures we've set up that we've been able to support the cooperatives to replicate. So we've continued to scale the learning, the lessons we learned through KKCU. And we are so happy because so these cooperatives are now also receiving funds directly. And it is because of them, you know, having transparent financial transactions, having mechanisms to track their work. being able to explain their portfolios, and all that came because of what we learned from KKCU. So it's impact that is continuing. So whatever it is we were learning, we're able to take it to the community to also improve themselves. So even as we look for partners, we are also supporting our affiliates to look for partners. And we are happy when they get that recognition. We are happy when the other external partners invest in them directly because they have credible structures. So we feel that is a very big success that came from KKCU. So they're not a tiny part of our success. They're a big part of our success.
Oh, that is awesome.
And we continue to learn from them because there is also something they kept telling us, don't hesitate to come to us. Even when there is no budget allocation, of course, with NGOs, we rely a lot on funding. So sometimes we have our ups and downs. And that does not mean when we are not heavily funded or no funding is coming in, that our problems have been suspended. So even at that point, they'll tell us, you come to us. We'll still support you. It's not a relationship that is monetary in nature, because we know the minute we engage and we help you to improve things, then other things will follow. So we felt they were so valuable because they worked with us that journey of developing our internal structures, our administrative structures. When we had and when we did not have, they were there with us.
Yeah. Oh, wow. I think if there's one thing I've even just from our conversations I'm learning, more often than not, even as a business person, you'd think how expensive it would be to, hire experts or seek advisory. And then you realize without the systems, you actually end up going through a greater loss and even making bigger losses, So I realized that the bit of actually having expert advisory makes all the difference. Yeah.
So it does, and they are very exposed.
Yeah.
So even when we attract big donors, they know what to do. So that's something else that we liked with them.
When you hear such stories, I mean, it's I can say from Nuru and from many other clients, if you transparency, compliance, good governance structures can seem costly, initially, or cumbersome and a lot of work. But in the long run, the results are amazing. Not just the results to the staff. The staff will also benefit with the amazing results. But more importantly to the like for not-for-profits, to the people. The results, the impacts. I mean, if you go to... when I think about the cooperatives when they started, and I know we worked with the cooperatives to help them set up, and now to see them getting their own funding to work on their own, to see the farmers selling their maize, selling their milk, converting their milk to yogurt. Thinking about market, and then you see the money that is circulating within the community and the impact. It's what's making a difference to that child, that mother, and it's really fulfilling. It's fulfilling to actually make a difference, and a really tangible difference, and it's really fulfilling when you see clients who listen, like Nuru, partners who really listen and implement. They are keen to implement and close all the dots. Just close all the loopholes, and you see the impact, you see the reward, you hear them getting new big donors, and you hear the donors really happy, saying, what, the impact that their money is making a big difference. You see them wanting, you'll find people wanting to work with you, and it's really a joy. It's a joy.
I know you work with a diverse client, so a client base. Could you maybe just briefly also walk through other potential clients, not just not for profit? What other
clients? So we work in terms of controls. We work with both the not for profits, both local and international. We work with corporates. We help corporates. We've seen I mean, we've worked with very similar. You'd be surprised, even the not-for-profits. The issues you went through are very similar to the corporates. Their controls are just. It could be a chain of bookstore where they have poor controls in how they manage their stocks. So you find that they have. I mean, we've worked with clients that have maybe branches in many counties, and all their branches, most of them are not making profits. Yeah, but their clients who are buying their books, and it's basic things like, fixing the system in terms of how books are counted, how the sales take place. And once you help them set up those structures, you see a difference, and you see them beginning to thrive, and you see them making decisions that are making a difference. I mean, we worked with different organizations, shipping companies, shipping corporates, manufacturing companies. We've worked with international organizations that have set up in Kenya and are looking to grow. We've worked with churches. We've worked with schools, universities. So it's a whole range of organizations we've worked with. They have different issues, but when you think about it, it's actually very similar. Yeah, in terms of internal controls, in terms of governance, the same governance, board governance that happen at a not-for-profit would still happen at a large corporate. The same governance structures will apply, just maybe applying using different regulations. So the NGO would use the BPO Act now, the new one, and corporates would use the Company Act. But if you look at the acts, there are very similar threads that fall through and similar standards that would apply to these different organizations. So it's been a joy, and it's always, we don't always have. It's not a success all through, but in majority of our clients, it's been such a success seeing them coming from point A to point Z. And we always tell our clients, work with us. In the next 3-4 years, there has to be a difference. You need to see, there has to be a difference. There's no way we'll work with you and we won't leave you different. We'll leave you different. Yeah. And I can attest to that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Pauline. Thank you for just creating time to come and just share your story and share with us your experience. If you allow us, we're also just going to attach a link to your website for people to go and see that the work that you're doing. So we're really grateful for you creating time to come and give us your experience, and we do not take that lightly or for granted. So asante sana. And you are most welcome to join us again and again.
Yeah.
It is karibuni sana. Thank you for just gracing our set, and we hope when questions come in, I know we are going to get a lot of questions and queries. I hope you'd be able to just answer them. So to our viewers, please leave your comments. Let us know what kind of content you'd want us to create. It's important that we are also able to really create content that has impact. So till next time, Liz and Pauline, asanteni sana.
Thank you.
So to our viewers, please share these our podcast with your friends. Let people know of the conversations that we're having. So till next time, take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.